Hello and welcome to the channel. It's your first time watching, thanks for tuning in. If you're a returner, thanks for coming back. Today we are reviewing the New Balance Nitrel V4. This is my first ever trail shoe. I've been running on and off for a number of years, but I've generally stuck to road running. I've branched out a little bit this year and I've thought I'd get some proper trail shoes, and I'll try and make an effort to get on the trails a bit more. But yeah, so I'm basically giving my reviews today on these. I'll give you my positives, my negatives. I'll go through each area of the shoe and we're going to score out of 10. If you've seen my reviews before, you know how it goes. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, outsole first. So obviously on a trail shoe, it's got bigger lugs at the bottom for grip. I have used this since January this year. I've just gone past 100 miles, just over. I tend to go out of a weekend on the trails, do a longer trail run. Some of it will be light trails, so it's fields, farmers' fields, stiles, hills. So yeah, so I've been running this since January on a variety of conditions. So obviously off-road most of it, but from January, obviously it was January, February was really wet, boggy conditions, and obviously more recently, May and June, it's been a bit drier, so the trails have dried out a little bit. But this has pretty much handled everything. I remember in February time, I think I went on a day when it was completely wet, and I almost lost the shoe. It was that soft underfoot. But yeah, these have taken everything really well in the stride. So I bought these kind of last November time on sale. So they were 75 recommended retail price. I ended up picking them up for 45. I don't know why they were so reduced. I think they're a really great trail shoe. They're probably not the best. It's got no plate in it. So if you're looking for a plated trail shoe, then obviously these aren't the ones for you. But for a £45 trail shoe, and like I said, I've done 100 miles. So yes, the outsole first, it's got larger lugs. It collects a little bit at the back here. I'd say that's one of the only negatives of the outsole is that in that section, it's really wet conditions. You get a clump of mud that kind of sticks in there. You don't notice it. But obviously at the end of the run, you see it at the bottom, and obviously you might have added a couple of grams on it throughout the run, so it's not a big deal. It's just a minor negative. Sometimes the grip, you lose a bit of the grip at the back. I'm a 4-foot striker anyway, so it's not a big deal because most of the grip's coming from the front anyway, or the midsole. But so for the outsole, I've not went to the. I'll put the weight of these on screen now. The area obviously because of the trail shoe, they're slightly heavier. I've got a clump of rubber, on the outsole. But overall, for the grip, I give these a good 7 out of 10 for the outsole for grip. As I've run in a number of conditions and they've always gripped pretty well. I've never felt unstable or I'm slipping and sliding anyway, and I've been in really bad conditions in these. So, okay, midsole now. So obviously you have used the Dynasoft midsole. I've never run in Dynasoft before. At the heel, there's obviously a substantial block of it. I don't really feel that when I'm running, obviously, because I'm a mid-foot striker. When you're walking and maybe at the end of a run, or when you're walking back, back up to your front door, etc., you notice then the squishy heel if you obviously walk properly heel to toe. Other than that, I don't use that part of the shoe. Maybe other people who are heel strikers would get far more benefit from it than I am. But yeah, it's just obviously it's a fairly firmish midsole. It's not rock hard, it's not really squishy. For a trail shoe, I think it's just about right. It's cushions enough, especially if you're on rocky ground, etc. It gives you a bit of protection for your feet, but not too soft that you kind of sinking into it and it just saps the energy even more than the soft ground does. So midsole wise, I've run 100 miles. There is a bit of creasing going on now on the inside. I'll try and get some close-ups. A little bit on the kind of 4-foot area that's starting to crease a little bit. Again, for a £45 shoe, it's done 100 miles. I don't really feel the foam has died yet. I don't think it's going to last an awful lot longer, maybe another 100 or 200 miles max. But again, for £45, I wasn't expecting it to go to massive numbers. But we'll get onto the durability a bit later on. So for the midsole, again, with a bit of creasing already, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. Fairly comfortable, but not particularly exciting. Okay, so we'll move on to the upper. It's a fairly thick mesh, like a woven mesh. Again, it doesn't run hot. I've run it in all different conditions. Again, I've not really run in the real heat yet. I've generally run it in cool or wet conditions so far. So one thing I will say is if you get your feet completely submerged and you get completely wet, it doesn't hold on to the moisture particularly well, which is a good thing. It doesn't hold on to the moisture for a particularly long time, which is a good sign. I've come back with these completely caked in mud and I've just hosed them down, and again the day after they're bone dry and I can use them again. A good bit is the toe protector, the front. Again, I've stubbed a couple of rocks, roots, etc., and that does help protect. It's quite a rigid toe box, which I like on trail shoes again, because you like it to do these things where you're stepping over stuff or uneven ground. You might stub your toe, and that does help protect your toes from a major impact. The back's fairly plush. It's not plush actually. It's fairly comfortable, fairly cushioned. It's not plush by any means, but again, on a trail shoe, you don't want any more additional weight than you absolutely need. The heel counter is really rigid. I've been giving it loads of force there, which again keeps your feet locked in. Like I said, they're not a light shoe, but again, as a trail shoe, it's protection where I want it. Overall, for the upper, I'll probably give that a 7 out of 10. Again, the lockdown's not great. It's fairly spacious, which again is fairly understandable. It's a fairly loose, spacious fit, which again could be nice if you splay your toes, for example, when you run. It might suit you more. I have no issues with the fit, but yeah, 7 out of 10. Kind of middle of the road, pretty good. Okay, so we've done outsole, we've done midsole, we've done upper. Let's just finish off with durability prediction and value. So durability, like I said, the outsole, I don't see having any major problems. Again, I'll try and get some close-ups whilst I'm talking. Even the pattern's still there. Yes, I've been off-road most of it. Yes, most of the running so far has been in wet conditions and therefore soft. I'm going to use this throughout the summer as well. I've got a marathon training block coming up. I'll be using a bit of off-roading just to give my legs a bit of a break. So yeah, the outsole for durability wise, I can see that holding up quite well. The upper's the same, no issues, no signs of wear and tear. The midsole is obviously with a slight creasing already. It's not the greatest quality foam, which again, for £45, which when I picked these up for, they were only 75. Obviously, recommended retail price. So for durability, I'd have to guess at say maybe 300, maybe 400 max, depending on how that foam holds up. I can see that being the first thing to go. That might go dead quite quick, and when that does, yes, I could still use them, potentially more so in the winter when it's softer anyway. But I will check back. Obviously, I'll do maybe a 200 and 300 mile review, and maybe check back in and update you guys on how the foam's holding up, because I see that as the weakest point. So 6 out of 10. You'd want it a bit high, maybe a bit more durable. But again, going to the next topic of value, it was cheap shoes. It's not the end of the world. So 6 out of 10 for durability. Finally now, value. So these were 75. If I paid 75 for them, I'd be a bit disappointed probably the fact that the foam's died a little bit quickly. The fact I paid 45 for them is obviously a bonus. I got them for nearly half price. So for 45, I can't really grumble with the value. They've done really well. They're doing really well. They do everything I need them to do. They're grippy. They're roomy enough. They don't run hot. They're comfy enough. They're durable, and in terms of that they get battered with the weather, with the conditions, and then I come back and just rinse them off and go again. I don't look after them at all. It's exactly what I want for a trail shoe, rough and ready to go. So for value, I've obviously got to go off the actual retail price as opposed to the price I picked them up for. So 75. For value, I'd have to give these, like again, probably a 6 out of 10, just because again the foam's dying pretty quick. And for 75 quid, I'd probably want a bit longer before I see that real creasing in the midsole foam. Okay, so I'll pop the overall scores on the screen. If my maths is right, I think that's 32 out of 50, which isn't the greatest score ever. But again, it's my first ever trail shoe, as in a proper trail shoe. I've used shoes off-road before, not an official trail shoe. So the major positives, 32 out of 50. The major positives, probably the grip. Again, I've used this in all conditions and the grip has never let me down. So yeah, the grip's probably the biggest positive about it. So yeah, the biggest positive is the grip. Biggest negative, there's nothing really terrible about it. There's a lot of obviously like averagey stuff like 6s and 7s I've been giving it, haven't I? So the biggest negative, you probably have to go with a midsole foam in terms of it looks like it's died a little bit quick, creasing already quite significantly on the midfoot. I'll see how that holds up, but that's potentially the biggest negative. Yeah, so it's not massive negatives, but that's a minor negative, I suppose. Yeah, so overall 32 out of 50. A solid, cheap trail shoe. I wouldn't buy these again at 75. If I happen to see them again reduced or something similar for around 40-50 quid, I would probably grab them again, yeah. I generally go cheaper on my trail shoes anyway, just because again I know they're going to get battered. I'm not willing to spend £100+ on a trail shoe just for it to get battered anyway. Yes, they might last me a bit longer, but that's just my thought process. So yeah, overall, obviously these are just my opinions. No one knows I'm doing this review. No one's telling me what to say. I'm not sponsored or endorsed by anybody. These are just my opinions. Pop down in your comments down below your favourite trail shoe right now. If you've got these, let me know if you've had any different experiences with them. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments. I'll do my best to reply to them. Yeah, so overall, 32 out of 50. Not a bad little trail shoe. I'm glad I got them for cheap. They're doing me good, and I'll check back in a few hundred miles to see how they're holding up. Thank you for watching all the way through to the end of the video. If you haven't yet, please like the video if you like what you saw. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. I really do appreciate it. It does help the channel a lot. But yeah, I've got other vlogs coming up very soon. Obviously my weekly training vlogs on regularly. Like I said, soon is going to be the marathon training block for my first marathon. Follow me along with that. That'd be great. Thank you for watching. See you next time.